End of a long Wednesday for OUSU. In their last council meeting this term, JCR representatives voted 69 to 10 with 15 abstentions against a motion to table a motion at the Conference of the National Union of Students. Its subject was controversial. Proposed by Wadham NUS delegate Emily Cousins, it resolved to motion for boycott, divestment and sanctions against Israel, in particular asking universities to investigate any relationships that might violate Palestinian rights. Cousins has declined to comment on her motion, but 2 weeks ago OUSU Council postponed the vote, leaving Oxford JCRs to consider it. And then this happened.
I'm sorry, Mr. Galloway?
You said we. Are you an Israeli?
I am, yes.
I don't debate with Israelis. I've been misled. Sorry.
What racism? What racism?
I don't recognise Israel and I don't debate with Israelis.
The debate was unrelated to the BDS proposal, and although Mr. Galloway cited the movement, BDS later distanced themselves from his actions. Aslan-Levy has been very vocal about the motion and spoke to Cherwell about his views on it.
The motion would essentially be telling me that my extended family and all of my close friends in Israel essentially aren't wanted in Oxford. I know the proposers. Emily is an old school friend of mine and I know she means well. The problem is that they've seemed to align themselves with an extremist and I would say anti-Semitic movement as well that isn't concerned with dialogue and cooperation but finds itself on the fringes of political dialogue, trying to take discriminatory measures against Israeli institutions instead of moving towards anything productive.
What would be a better action for them to take?
If British students are genuinely interested in helping to move Israelis and Palestinians towards a peace process, they should support organisations that bring Israeli and Palestinian civil society together to talk with each other, to trade with each other, to get to know each other as human beings, instead of demonising and delegitimizing one side.
BDS call themselves the representatives of Palestinian civil society, insisting that Israel is in breach of international law and that pressure must be brought to bear on the country. OUSU's motion would have required Oxford's NUS delegates to table a motion formally endorsing this movement, and though the result was widely anticipated, the vote was tense, and not without its hiccups.
We've got 10 votes in favour, 69 votes against, and 15 abstentions.
Okay. Can I just ask, will this be taken into account by NUS delegates if this motion is based at NUS Conference? Is there any way in which they are bound by the opinion of housing?
No, there is no. They've been democratically elected. What are they? No, they're not. They're not with regards to.
They have not been bound to vote.
They haven't been voted to vote in a certain way.
But they're bound by council policy.
This is council policy not to introduce the motion. It's not council policy to vote against the motion. Sorry, technical point.
So I'm joined here now in St Aldate's by our Deputy Editor Tom Bidsworth. So Tom, would the vote have gone any differently if the motion hadn't been delayed in week 5?
Well, in truth, I think it wouldn't have been. The one thing you have got to consider is the events of 6th week, when George Galloway controversially walked out on aslan-levy during debate simply because of his Israeli nationality. I think that has had an impact. I think it's filtered through to general sentiments, but I don't think the result would have been different 2 weeks ago. I think the fundamental facts of the case remain the same, and sort of the fundamental beliefs, attitudes of Oxford students remain the same when it comes to an Israeli boycott.
So, I mean, the boycott, divestment, sanctions movement has been around since 2005, and OUSU periodically tables these sorts of motions, the last one of note being a motion to condemn the attack on Gaza in 2009, which was similarly divisive amongst JCRs. Would you say that this motion, which has been framed in particularly strong terms, is something of near extraordinary proportions, or is there nothing new under the sun?
I think you're right, Xen. I think this motion distinguishes itself by it being very strongly worded and being slightly different in that it sort of proposes taking it to the NUS and subsequently boycotting Israel. But I think you're also right in that it can fundamentally be seen in the context of previous OUSU motions. The dynamics again remain the same this year as they were last year, as they were in 2009. Students are fundamentally apathetic and they are quite loud voices within the university, prepared to speak in Israel's favour, not the least of which of course is Elon.
Thank you very much, Tom.
OUSU President David Townsend called the vote a decisive resolution, and that despite disagreements, there was common ground on both sides. The NUS Conference will be held in April.
By complete coincidence, the Israel-Palestine issue has stormed in and out of Oxford and national headlines over recent weeks. The boycott, divestment, sanctions motion has fallen. In the end, it was perhaps an inevitability. But what Oxford students keep on learning is that there are always going to be ears outside this university waiting to hear and react to their moral declarations. This is Zinfan reporting for Cherwell Online.